If you're exploring awakening, spiritual awakening, non-duality, dharma, you probably ask yourself, who can I trust? What teachers can I trust? Are people trying to con me? Are they still deluded? Are they greedy? Like, if I put my trust in a certain teacher, is it going to come back to bite me? And I think those questions are really important to ask yourself, and also ask again and again and again. Like, stay tuned and focused on your internal barometer of truth, like your own bullshit detector basically. And also your own heart, your own ability to feel when you're maybe feeling pain or discomfort because of the things certain people say. So I've been through this myself quite a lot, just wondering what can I rely on? What are the signs that maybe somebody is not as trustworthy, or they warrant a little bit of questioning, as opposed to just complete, messianic devotion. So I thought I'd bring 3 red flags that if you see in spiritual teachers, maybe you can ask a few questions to yourself, and explore a bit deeper. So these are red flags that I've come across myself, when I've been out there in the world looking for teachers and exploring different people's teachings. These are 3 of the red flags that really stuck out to me, that helped me to realize, oh, okay, maybe I can let go of them a little bit and move to someone a bit more reliable, a bit more authentic. So, it's also worth noting that these red flags are not set in stone, as in people might display some of these, but, this path of awakening is hard and we are human beings. So our ability to rest in compassionate truth, it varies depending on what's going on in our lives. So it's not like if you see one red flag, then definitely throw them in the bin, but it's just to kind of raise awareness a little bit. What I'd also say is that, these apply to me also. I'm online, I'm talking about spirituality. So yeah, if you notice these things in me, well, absolutely ask the questions. I think as spiritual practitioners and teachers, we need to be accountable. We need to be humble, and we need to trust those that we're working with to help guide us on the path, as opposed to the belief that I sometimes see in spiritual teachers that, oh no, I'm awake, therefore I'm always right. And anybody who kind of disagrees, that's because they're not as awake as me. So that's not one of the red flags I was going to raise, but it's like an extra one, let's say. But yeah, I see that quite a lot. So as a spiritual teacher, I think we need to trust the people that we're communicating with to reflect that back to us. And if we feel that being reflected back to us, we have a responsibility to say, okay, well, maybe I'm getting caught up in something here that isn't helpful. Maybe I'm gravitating back towards self-centered delusion in some way, and I need to work with that. So anyway, bit of a preamble, but 3 red flags to look out for in spiritual teachers. So the first one, I got them on my phone. So, spiritual teachers that say the same thing over and over again. They have kind of a repertoire of, maybe 2,000 words of, pretty pokey stuff, it's pretty potent stuff, but they tend to just say the same words, literally the same words, again and again and again in different ways. Now, I know the English language is kind of limited in the way in which we can communicate. There's only so many ways in which we can communicate something. And also when you're talking about awakening, we're talking about something that is incommunicable. We cannot actually speak about the truth of this, what we wake up to. It's extremely mysterious and ineffable. It's beyond concept. So we do need words. But one of the red flags I've seen so often is people just having a grab bag of really exciting phrases that they like to repeat again and again and again. And I see them saying pretty much the same thing word for word, maybe in a slightly different order, in their dharma talks, in their one-to-ones, like in their public speaking. It's all just kind of the same flavour of, not just the same flavour, the same script, really. And what that suggests to me, and what it did suggest to me, is, well, wait a minute, there's a lack of flexibility here. This is somebody relying upon a view of the world in order to say that they're awake, as opposed to awake spontaneity, wanting to communicate. And it's been my experience that spontaneous, awake, living, loving presence is infinite in its capacity to be versatile, to be flexible, to meet whatever the needs are of the moment in order to communicate. It doesn't have to rely upon a set of phrases in order to make a point. Because really, it's not about making a point. It's about helping people to see something that is beyond description. So if you hear people saying the same things again and again and again, I will give you an example of one thing that I've heard. I'm not saying that everybody that says this is, a fraud. I don't mean that. What I'm saying is this is a red flag. It sets the alarm bells off, and maybe we can ask a few more questions. But one phrase I've heard again and again and again is this is all nothing manifesting and appearing to no one. Now, the number of times I have heard that sentence, it's unbelievable. And really, it doesn't say anything, it doesn't point to anything, it doesn't help really in any way. This is nothing arising and manifesting for no one. Like, what? I mean, I kind of get what it's pointing to, with regards to non-dual experience, but also, is that helpful? And is that kind of language to be relied upon? What if you say something like that and somebody says, well, actually, that doesn't work for me. I don't get it. I don't resonate with that. If a teacher then doesn't have the flexibility to explore and help the other person explore by using different words, different approaches, and they just keep repeating similar kind of nonsensical phrases, let's say, then for me, that's a bit of a red flag, I would say. That's red flag number one, saying the same thing over and over again. So red flag number two is the tendency to describe and explain what awakening is or what enlightenment is. I've seen, again, a lot of people, whilst I've been exploring this path, just making videos about their own experience of awakening and saying, I went through this, I went through that, and for me, enlightenment's like this, enlightenment's like that. It's like, okay, well, I mean, that's got some benefit for sure, but it's kind of it's like a diary, really, isn't it? It's like a confessional. I mean, it's somebody going through their own kind of process of liberation, but then trying to land upon descriptions of what's going on. But really, this experience can't be described adequately. It just can't. So actually, the teachers that are best suited are not the ones that are telling you the way that it is. They're the ones that are inviting you to explore the way that it is in your experience. They're not saying, it's like this, enlightenment is this, awakening's like this, I am enlightened because I see things like this. I'm not going to go into the ways that they see things, but for me, that's a bit of a red flag. It's like, well, why are they doing that? What do they need to do that for? And is it helpful, really? And I found it incredibly unhelpful when I've been on the path. The teachers that have helped me the most are the ones that maybe give a flavour, a little, like a taste of some of the qualities to explore, but then they're inviting again and again, explore the nature of experience right now. Use meditation and insight and inquiry practices and presence to explore the way it is. I'm not going to tell you the way it is. Let's together find out the way it is in experience. And for me, in fact, it's the only way, really, as far as I'm concerned. Anything that you tell me, or that a teacher tells me, or that I tell you about the way awake enlightenment is, doesn't really matter. We've got to find it for ourselves. We have to. But a good teacher enables us and facilitates us and guides us on that journey of discovery. So that's the second red flag, is reliance on describing and explaining enlightenment. And I've got one more, 1 second. The last one is Making enemies of the unawakened. So this is something I've seen a bit more recently with people that are self-proclaimed awake, enlightened beings. And okay, I mean, if you want to proclaim that, that's fine. I'm not particularly a fan of it for various reasons, but okay, like go ahead, proclaim your enlightenment. But then to say, and those that aren't enlightened are mistaken, they're wrong, they're perverse, they're toxic. I don't want to speak to people that are not on the path of awakening. I've heard a lot of so-called enlightened people basically saying that the people that are not interested in this are kind of a lower level of life form, or their energy level is too low, or they're rooted in greed. And well, actually, no, there are families and friends, really. They're the people that we love the most. They're 99% of the people on this planet, essentially, that I've never heard of awakening and are not exploring it. And yeah, we have these enlightened people that say that they've awoken their hearts and minds, that are kind of going to war with people that are suffering, really. Because if you're on this path at all to any degree, what we do recognize pretty much right at the beginning is that mind identification, that self-centered way of viewing the world, it hurts, like it's born of fear, and it causes a lot of suffering for ourselves and others. So to then look at those people and say, oh no, you're suffering, but actually you're an enemy, I don't want to speak to you, like that's incredibly problematic. And again, if I saw that, as I have seen that often recently in quite a number of people's videos and teachings online, saying that the human race is toxic. It's like, well, that's us. That's you. What they're talking about you. It's like, what is that? So if you kind of receive those messages from a teacher, again, I would say stop, look at it, and ask some questions. Because it's a red flag. I mean, it's a red flag that there's something going on under the hood that's not been realized. There's something kind of rooted in hatred, I would say, that's driving this enmity in the world. So yeah, there's 3 red flags to look out for on the path when exploring spiritual teachers. And they're things that I've come across, that I've noticed in others, and also things that I know people should ask of me. Because I do talk openly about spirituality and awakening online, and I expect to be held to account for the things that I do. I think that's extremely important for everybody that's communicating about this online.